This is a bit of a different video today, but I hope you enjoy it either way. It's more so informative if you want to do the same. It's just, yeah, just a nice little thing that you can do if you have a relative in hospital. So this is my cousin. His name's Ryan, and he's currently 20 years old. And ever since he was born, he's had issues with his kidney. So he's had kidney transplants, and right now he's in hospital again with some sort of infection, fungal infection that just won't leave his body. He lives in Fiji normally and he loves it there, but he's been really struggling because he's a dual citizen, so he lives in both Australia and Fiji. And he's finding it really tough being away from home for so long. He's been in hospital for the last 3 months, in the same room, in and out. He's basically been on the verge of death at one point, which is really sad. But he's on the mend now, which is good. But what he's finding is he's just bored to death in the hospital. He has nothing to do. Like, he's got his phone, he's got headphones, and he can do that sort of stuff, like scroll. But eventually you do get bored of that. But what he has asked for is a gaming console. When he was in hospital, when he was like way younger, what my uncle did was he bought him a PS Vita, and he really enjoyed that. Like, he had games like Minecraft, I don't know what other games, but I just remember there was Minecraft on it. And that really helped him to pass the time in hospital. So me being interested in tech and that sort of stuff and doing PC flipping, I thought, well, what can I do nowadays to replicate that? And I was thinking the Nintendo Switch initially. And the reason why I was thinking the Nintendo Switch, there were no issues with it. It just works. You can basically run it anytime, anywhere. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, with the Switch, you have to buy each physical game and the games cost a lot. The Switch is old itself, like it doesn't run games very well. And yeah, it's pretty easy for you to use. But then I also thought, is there something newer that I can use? And I thought, what about the Steam Deck? And then I thought, well, the Steam Deck's got a few issues with Proton, all that sort of stuff. And then I thought the ROG Ally. So what I've done is I bought a ROG Ally off of eBay. I think it was like 577 Australian dollars, which is a good deal considering that it's got a Z1 Extreme chip, 512 gig SSD, and it's got all the other features of the ROG Ally. So what I intend on doing is buying that. He can use it for as long as he's in hospital and as long as he's in Sydney, because he'll be staying with us after he's out of hospital, because the Fiji healthcare system is so bad over there. Like, you go to hospital over there, you're going to pass away pretty much, unless you've got something very mild. Yeah, so I bought the ROG Ally off of eBay, and he's going to be using that. So what I've done is I've just done a quick little setup for him. I've downloaded some games, Fortnite, Rocket League, Cyberpunk, Marvel Rivals, just some games for him to play while he's in hospital. And yeah, so I will also be making a second part to this video. In the second half of this video, I just want to make like a quick little tutorial as to how you can set one up for your relative who's in hospital, or just use it yourself, because there are a few things that are a little bit finicky with it that I've had some issues with before. But yeah, so the second part of this video is just going to be like a tutorial as to how to use it. I'll also send the video to Ryan so he can know how to use it, because he's not very tech literate. But I think that the ROG Ally has improved to the point where you can use it as a console basically intuitively. But you do need to get your head around the software a little bit. So the second half of this video is going to be dedicated towards that. But yeah, I've been using the ROG Ally while I've been setting it up. I've just been testing it out, making sure it works all fine. And it's a great console. Like, it runs Fortnite at like 90 FPS, 100 FPS on performance mode with far view distance. It's really good. And Rocket League, no issues at all. It can run any sort of game. I even tested Marvel Rivals. It was averaging around 50 FPS with everything set to the low preset. Mind you, it had FSR3 enabled, but like, the game looked fine. On a screen that size, you could still play the game. And that's the most important thing. It's just something for him to pass the time with. And like, I really value what Asus has done, because it's a handheld. All the console is in your hands. It's like a Switch. You don't need a cable, you don't need a PS4, you don't need an internet connection necessarily. Yeah, you can just hold it on your lap and just play the game. And that's what's really great about it. So I would like to say thank you to Asus and also Steam, who have like made other consoles like it. It's really made like another market for things like this. So yeah, let's just jump to the second half of this video, which is how to use the ROG Ally. Before we do that though, I'll just show you this quick little clip of Ryan using the ROG Ally. He was really enjoying it. His tone doesn't sound like it, but yeah, he's playing Rocket League in this one.
Oh my god. Oh god. Where's the ball?
This tutorial is going to be like really simple, and it's going to go through absolutely everything you need to know if you aren't very tech literate. So you've got your screen in the middle, you've got your buttons over here. Not much to be said about those yet. You've got your headphone jack, so if you're plugging in headphones in your micro SD, not your micro SD slot, in your 3.5mm headphone jack, that's where you do it. A SIM card slot, I'm not going to be using that. You've also got your XG mobile GPU support. Ignore that. If you don't have one, don't get one, you don't need one. There's also USB-C. This is your one port that you charge out of, but you can also attach a dongle or dock to it. And then you've got your volume up, volume down, volume up, sorry. And then you've also got your power button. Now, when you're turning it on, you just hold the power button and then it should boot into Windows. Next, you just swipe up and then it's also got Touch ID. Next up, you'll load into the console. Now, if you load into Windows like this, what you do is you hit the Armoury Crate button, which is this button here, and this will open Asus's software, which essentially is like the Xbox interface or the PS4 interface. Now, you can see that I've already got a bunch of games installed over here. So all you have to do is use this one, this joystick to navigate left or right, and then you just use the A button to select. And then if this pops up, I personally say no, and I'll get into that in a minute. This button also lets you open up a sidebar where you can turn up the brightness or turn it down. I'm just going to leave it there for now so you can see what I'm doing. And then I also want to make sure that you're in gamepad mode. Now, gamepad mode is pretty important as it just makes everything easier. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm in Rocket League and everything's just working just fine. You can see that I can use the joystick to navigate, and then it's pretty self-explanatory there. A to select, if I select play, and then just hit B to go back. And then you can also use it as a touchscreen. Touchscreen is pretty easy. And if you are having any issues with the game, like not registering, like if you're hitting A and it's not doing anything, you probably just need to tap the screen and then it'll get you into the tab. Okay, so when you're setting it up though, from a setting up standpoint, one thing I found really tricky was the game mode, the gamepad mode and the desktop mode. Now what I found with both these modes is that the stupid thing about this software is that with the ABXY button, you need to make sure that it's configured in this way. So if it says X, Y, A, B, what you need to make sure is that the secondary function is also the same, because otherwise it will probably be a screenshot, be some weird button. So if you need to do that, all you do is come over here, press edit, and then just select whichever button it is. So you'll see A, B, X, and Y. But I've already done that for my cousin. But if you are buying it for someone else, do that. And do it for both modes, just because you probably won't be using desktop mode too much. Okay. Now, if you need to get out of Armoury Crate, but you don't know how, and let's just say you're on this menu here, all you do is you press this button, the Armoury Crate button, and that will minimize. So here's the native Windows desktop experience. But it does only minimize it. You can close it, but I recommend just keeping it open. You don't really need to close it. All right. Then, if, let's say, you're playing a game that needs an update, likely chances are you'll need to go into Windows itself, but you could also not. If you need to do so, again, just press the Armoury Crate button here, and then just tap on whatever launcher it is, or just tap on the game on the screen on the desktop. So let's say it's Fortnite, but it needs to update first. I'll open Epic Games, and then I'll go over the side to Downloads, and it'll pop up there. Same for Steam, so if you have a Steam game that needs an update, it will probably tell you. I think Cyberpunk actually needs an update. Now, if it pops up with this screen for the first time, the game profile, What I typically like to do is just say gamepad mode, and then that just makes it easier. Control mode, I've already customized the game profile, so yes. If I made it gamepad mode, yeah, just say yeah. And you'll see that some of these screens might pop up. Now what that's saying is it's telling you to allow this app to make changes to your device. Most of the time, just say yes. That should work 99% of the time. Just make sure it's not like some random file from the internet. So some bigger games will take longer to load, like Cyberpunk. I've also got Rainbow Six Siege, Among Us, just some games that are pretty easy to handle. But I've also got some offline games because I'm not too sure about the reception in the hospital or whether or not Ryan can use hotspot. So yeah, I've also got like Clone Drone in the Danger Zone, Inside, and then I'll probably see if there are any other free games that are pretty light on storage. If a game is not opening, feel free to just try again, and it will probably load this time. As you can see, it's loading much faster. Continue without account, and then just hit play. What I would also recommend is that when you are playing games, you do just plug in the cable. That's as easy as just grabbing your USB-C cable at the top and just hitting that. It will also turn on turbo mode if you are plugged into power, which is nice, so you'll get better performance. Now you can see some games like this one are pretty tough to run. So yeah, I will have to make some settings changes, but I'll also show you how to change any settings in any game. This is also the first time that I'm opening Cyberpunk on this Ally, so it is going to be a little bit slow at the start. And you can see this little pop-up, this annoying screenshot popped up. Now that is probably because it is in auto mode. So if it is in auto mode, make sure you change it to gamepad mode and you shouldn't have that issue. Yeah, so just always make sure it's in auto mode, no, not auto mode. Change it to gamepad mode every single time. So every time you launch a game, change it to gamepad mode. It's really annoying, but it's just a fact of life for this console. If you are low on power and you need to save power though, you can change the wattage, although most of the time 10 watts is too slow, 15 watts is not enough, and 30 watts is a bit too much if you're charging, but if you unplug, it will change it to 25 watts. You'll also see that there are a few other buttons like show desktop, FPS limiter. I've got it just set to 120, but I think I might set it to 90 because you can't really tell the difference, and yeah, it just helps you with battery life a bit more. So let's say you're in Cyberpunk and you need to hit the settings. So initially it will ask you to change the settings, or you can just go manually. You just hit this button up here, the 3 lines, or you just hit settings. Now the weird thing about Cyberpunk is that it's actually defaulted to using a mouse. It's probably because it thinks we're on Windows. So if you do need to click something, just use A as your select and then use this joystick as your mouse. It is a little bit finicky, but that's okay. Then for settings, if you're not getting the amount of performance, ensure that ray tracing is off. That's definitely not going to happen on this title. And you also just set it to a preset. So for this game, I'm just going to set it to the low preset, especially at 1080p, which I believe we're running at. Let me just check. So if you're checking the resolution, you just come up here and you'll see it's running at 1080p. On this console though, I would probably opt for like something like 16 by 1900, and that would run a little bit better. But again, you can see that this is not in full screen mode, so you can change that as well. But yeah, definitely some finicky settings somewhere, but you can see that at 1600 by 1900, we're going to be running at much higher performance. I also picked up this case from JS Auks. It's just easier to hold the console and it's a bit more like a normal controller. So I would recommend this. It's about 35 Australian dollars. And then I got a pack of 2 screen protectors just in case I messed up the application, and that was about $9. So yeah, definitely get a screen protector. When I bought this off eBay, it was in really good condition, like it was in pristine condition pretty much. It just needed a little bit of a wipe on the console. But again, I've got the case, so it doesn't really matter that much. So you can see that we're now in Cyberpunk, and we're actually playing pretty smoothly. Yeah, if you want to turn on an FPS counter, you can see that, but I wouldn't really recommend it. We're running at 76 FPS, 75 FPS, which is really good. And the game looks awesome, to be honest. Like, on this size of a screen, you don't need anything more. The game looks really awesome. Like, this Z1 Extreme chip is great. Now, it will depend on the game, but for Cyberpunk, you can see that when I'm hitting these buttons, they do different things. So, normally a settings button will be the 3 lines here, but definitely not for this game. Instead, it's this little view button here. And then you just hit that, and then you can navigate with the mouse. Settings, and then I'm going to change a few things. But yeah, you can definitely do a lot with this console, and it runs really well, to be honest. I would personally run it at 1600 by 1900, which is the resolution that we're using now. And then you can also change the settings like the controller sensitivity up here in gameplay and controls. So yeah, you can see that I've got the steering sensitivity is set to 100. That's a little too high for me, so I'm going to lower that to about 80. Yeah. Anyway, it's an awesome game, and it's an awesome console. It's more of a story mode game, and you can play this offline as well. But the fact that this console can run Cyberpunk is really impressive to me. And then if you want to quit out of a game, all you do is go to this setting and then just say quit game. And then you'll just have to select that. Yeah, that is the ROG Ally. Also, if you want to turn this off, you just press that button until it says off. I'm really impressed by the ROG Ally. It's a great console. And then to turn the console off, you can just hold the power button up here and it will turn off. Also, when you are putting the cover on the console, just make sure you turn it off first, just because it doesn't have any air vents on it. So just hold the power button down and then let go, and it should turn off. You do need to let go or it won't actually turn off. And then when you're putting the cover on, you'll see that it kind of like lines up naturally. But make sure you put the top on first, and then the bottom should just come over it. And then to make sure it's lined up properly, you'll see that this little gap here needs to be like aligned. So just shift it over if it's not aligned, and you'll see the gap between the USB-C thing and the little slot left for it. Yeah, that's the console. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit different, but I'm sure my cousin will really enjoy using the ROG Ally. Thank you, Asus, and yeah, let's hope it all goes well. I'll report back if nothing goes well. But yeah, it should keep him from being bored. Thanks. As always, I'm TechBiz, and I'm out.